On today's show, it's all about garbage disposal repair in Houston and garbage disposal replacement in Houston.
Who told you we're plumbers? We're plumbers.
I'm John Eccles,
Richard Side.
back for another week, another episode. Today we're going to be talking about the garbage disposal, that chewy machine that's supposed to take all
Take
of the,
my stuff.
yeah, take the leftovers from the kitchen sink and just
Eat it. Throw it in there.
uh,
Or
so
scrape it.
before we get too big into this, anytime we talk about garbage disposals, me and Richard always like to talk about proper use because a lot of times it is misused. And we've talked about this on several shows, and we're going to again today because we are talking about garbage disposal. Is it our topic? And so what are some things that we absolutely do not want to put down the garbage disposal?
Chicken bones?
No chicken bones.
Chicken bone? Things that are stringy?
Stringy. Celeries and vegetables that's stringy. Potato peels.
Things that have skin?
Oh, yeah. Think about things that stick together whenever you're peeling them.
Oh, pastas.
Pasta's a bad one.
Ooh, that's a bad one. Can you imagine think about this. Pasta. It's on your dish, right? And rice. Rice too. Rice comes in a small little, what do you call that? I
A
can't.
piece of rice.
Yeah, piece of rice, there we go. And it's small, and you put out water and heat it up, and it,
And
poof,
absorbs,
it
yeah.
gets bigger. Well, that's what it does in your pipes. And then it coagulates together.
That's the word on our show that everybody loves.
Oh, I love that word, because it's true. It starts packing and coagulating.
That's right, and it stops up the pipes and it stops up the disposal, causes all sorts of problems for you. You want to put regular waste down there, you know, things that tend to stick together, they're stringy, avoid at all costs. And of course, I think it goes without saying that you don't put items that shouldn't go down the kitchen sink.
Well, people don't know. People actually put a lot more than what I think we think. But garbage disposal, you're supposed to scrape.
All right.
Highly recommend scraping off in the trash can, rinsing off in the sink, and getting the particulates
Yeah,
into the garbage disposal, not the whole chicken.
that's right. Okay, so now let's dive in to the repair and replacement of garbage disposals. So let's start off with types. So there's a tons of types. We're only going to talk about the most famous three, right? Because they come in three different sizes, and that's the types they are, and that's the ones that we're going to talk about. Right? They have a 1/3 we don't talk about because it's, I know it says garbage disposal, and it is garbage. It's a builder's grade.
Oh, it's really
apartment grade.
garbage.
It is. It's not worth buying.
I think it's worse than builder's grade. Maybe, but they do use it.
Yeah, that's what they use because it's cheap. We're going to talk about a 1/2 horsepower, 3/4 horsepower, 1 horsepower disposal. Obviously, each one's more powerful, 1/2, 3/4, 1. 1/2 horsepower is probably the most popular, I would think. A lot of people upgrade from their builder's grade to that and tend to stick with it. The biggest differences in those, though, what are they?
1/2 horsepower tends to be steel.
Right?
You usually don't get stainless steel in them.
That's right.
Your teeth are not going to be the same as, let's say, the 1 horsepower,
Absolutely.
right? And they're just made cheaper.
Yeah,
That's all it is. The guts on the inside, the motor's cheaper, everything is cheaper in that 1/2 horsepower.
that's right.
Once we start moving up to the 3/4 horsepower, you're getting into multiple options.
That's right.
You'll be able to get stainless steel parts, stainless steel grinders. You can still kind of get a cheaper one, though, that does have steel parts.
Right.
The motors are more strong. The motors are built better.
Grind chamber's a little bigger.
Grind chamber is bigger. Then you go to the 1 horsepower, and typically the 1 horsepower all comes with stainless.
Has
Everything in it is stainless.
Bells and whistles.
The motor is the top of the class in garbage disposal motors.
Right, it's quiet.
It's quiet. It's got auto reversing. It helps from getting it stuck.
Yeah, jam
Other
sensor.
problems. Yeah, jam sensors. It's got everything. It's like the Ferrari.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. It's just like everything else in the world, right? The bigger and better that you go, the more bells and whistles you're going to get. So you go from a pretty basic model to one that has all sorts of things that help it, maintain itself.
Correct.
And that's why the warranties, right? That's one that we didn't touch on, are a lot different. The 1/2 horsepower comes with a 2-year. 3/4 horsepower comes with a 3-year. Your creme de la creme Ferrari 1 horsepower comes with a 7-year warranty.
Big difference.
So, yeah, they absolutely believe in that product. So I mean, that's double the middle and over 3 times the beginner one.
Now, in saying that, costs are going to go
Oh, come on, yeah,
a lot higher for the Ferrari than what it is for the 1/2 horsepower, of course.
absolutely.
But in the middle, which is the 3/4 horsepowers, they make about 4 different styles of where the material is different in there.
Yeah,
And they're great. That's what I put into my house, 3/4. And I went with the all stainless steel. I am not the guy that's going to put a lot down my sink
right.
because I know better. I just don't. But if I'm an average person that, okay, I'm sticking some things down the sink, you need to go with a 3/4.
I
That's
shove
you?
everything. I shove everything down the sink.
Do you?
Yeah, I tried to do my son, but he climbed out. I shove everything I can down there, man.
He made a bad grade.
No, I shove all sorts of food. I'm really bad about it. I really am. But it is-
So in saying that, what happens? What can happen when you shove a bunch of food down on the garbage disposal that you shouldn't be?
it's going to do that word. What's that word?
Coagulate.
Yeah, into the pipe, and it's going to stop it up. It's going to
Could.
It could. It's going to push that down, and a lot of times it gets stuck somewhere between there and the city main, and it's going to create problems. A lot of times it can also do the same thing inside of the disposal and jam it up, so it's not going to spin. What leads us into what kind of issues do we run into with disposals?
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit more. And let's just say it does stop working. And I put too much food in it and it quit working. Or let's say I didn't put any food in it and it quit working. What do you do?
Okay, so a couple different things. When you say it quit working, we get a couple different items. Is it like you flip switch and nothing happens?
Yeah, let's just say nothing happens.
All right, nothing happens. First thing you want to do, you want to eliminate, is an electrical problem, right? Is the switch actually working? If it is, and this is actually pretty interesting. I had this phone call, right? We talk about, every week we say, hey, call us if you need a problem. This happened yesterday. Lady calls in and says, hey, I need someone to come out, my disposal, flip switch, nothing happens. I said, well, look, before we book a call, let's try something very simple. There's a reset button directly on the bottom. Itty bitty red reset button, just almost like your GFCI button. And I said, have you tried pushing that? She said, I didn't even know that was there. So she went down
Nobody
there.
sees it.
She pushed it, and I heard her immediately turn it, and you can hear it spinning. She goes, I never knew that was there. What happened? I said, well, sometimes, something happens with the power, and it trips it for whatever reason, and you just got to reset it. And a lot of times that fixes the problem whenever you flip it, and there's nothing happening. 9 times out of 10, you do that, everything will be back up and running.
And guess what? We saved you money.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't have to send anybody
No.
out.
Saved you money.
She didn't have to wait on our guy. I mean, she saved some time, some money. So she was very happy. And that goes into the next thing. What if you turn it on and all you hear is humming?
Well, same thing. Right where that button is, underneath that garbage disposal, you're going to have an Allen wrench fitting underneath there that you can put the key in, and you start twisting it back and forth. And that'll get it loosened up. Those teeth sometimes will get stuck. Get it loosened up, hit the button again, turn the switch on.
All right? Because all that means is that the disposal was jammed up, right?
That's
The
right.
teeth get jammed up. I got a question for you. What if I don't have an Allen wrench?
Now. Whew, that's a problem. Not for me, though. So, go to your garage or go to your cabinet. You get a broom. So you get this broom, get the handle of the broom, put it in your sink, and start turning the teeth on the disposal. And make sure they're freed up, backwards and forwards. Then go underneath, go ahead and hit the button again, and then hit the switch.
Yep.
Now, if that doesn't work, you got problems.
Yeah, then you got problems.
Then it comes into replacement time.
Yeah.
That means your motor's gone,
Yeah.
and it isn't coming back on.
Yeah, at that point, you probably need to call us. A replacement's going to be the best option.
And again, that's after you check and make sure the power is working.
yeah.
So, again.
Yeah, so
But, yeah, your motor's gone. So that comes into the replacement side of, I need a new one.
Yeah.
And the options, you've got a bunch of options out there, you guys, on what to get. Now, I would say most homes have the half horsepower.
yeah,
I went with the 3/4. What do you have?
I have a half.
Okay.
I have a half.
I went with the 3/4 stainless, and it is 12 years old, and I have no problems with it.
Yeah, normally they last quite a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should get 20 plus years. I'm not putting anything down it anyway, but I turn it on all the time. So I'm using it all the time. But I am not, I'm again scraping off in the trash can. I'm rinsing off in the sink.
You're being responsible.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I'm trying. Let's put it that way. And my disposal is 12 years old, and it's still going strong. And it should. I mean, probably go 20, 30 years. I don't know.
You know, the only other thing that we see, you know, those the half horsepower disposals, the non-stainless, just the steel.
They rust.
Yeah, they rust. That's going to be the other thing. After you use it long enough, it will eventually rust out and start to leak. And that's another call that we get frequently is that, hey, my garbage disposal is leaking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once we eliminate if it was installed improperly, and if it's an older disposal, normally it's rusted out. And at that point, you're going to be making a choice between
Which one do you
yeah,
want?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say solutions, right?
Yep.
So today's show's about those solutions. And if you scrape off in the trash, put minimum down that disposal, it's going to last. Half horsepower is not going to last. It's got steel parts. Eventually, it will rust out. Right? It might still work, but it's going to rust out and start leaking.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to start leaking underneath the cabinet. And you may or may not notice that. And, you know, we've seen them as little as 5 years rust out. We've seen them as much as 10 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes, depending on your water quality, they're not rusting out as quick as that within the first 10 years.
That's right.
Now, stainless steel, mine's 12 years old. It still looks like the day I put it in. You can look at the teeth, you can look at everything around it, and it still looks brand new. So as long as that motor goes, it's going to last.
That's right.
It's not going to rust out. Now, 1 horsepower, if you're actually a connoisseur of cooking, let's call it, right? You like to cook a bunch, and you are putting a bunch of things down that sink, that 1 horsepower is for you. It can take it, and it will grind it, and it will keep grinding, and it'll last. They're great units. They're expensive. You know, I'm calling it expensive, but that's all relative, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get 20 plus years out of the deal. I mean, what does that really mean? $1 a month?
Something like
So really, it's not expensive.
That's right.
But up front, they're going to cost you a lot more. But that truly is the Ferrari. And that one there is going to last. And it will take bones. I wouldn't recommend throwing ribs in there, but I'm talking normal chicken bones. I wouldn't throw cow bones, let's call, in there either. So, but that one's going to last, and it's a great unit, and it chops up things very fine. So as long as you're not putting pasta down there, typically you'll stay away from the kitchen sink stoppages too, because it chops it up so fine before it delivers it into your piping structure.
Huh? I think that's all we got this week, man. We really appreciate it.
Nothing to add? We're done.
Yeah.
Hope you learned something today. And if not, call us. John's here to help you.
That's right. All the time. Keep grinding, Houston.
That's right. I'm here to help too, by the way.